The year 2024 reshaped the Middle East with the fall and rise of new players and the continued death, destruction, and occupation.
Is our sacred commitment to continue to defend our country.
The war that began on October 7th wiped out once powerful forces in the region. In the next few minutes, we'll tell you about the biggest losers and winners of the Middle East conflict in the year that we are about to say goodbye. Iran, which ruled the Middle East for decades through its proxies, suffered a huge blow. It started with the killing of its powerful hawkish president, Ebrahim Raisi, and his close aides in a surprise helicopter crash in May this year. What came next was a huge security failure and embarrassment when in July, the Iranian state guest and Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated by Israel in a Tehran safe house. Haniyeh's killing was a huge blow to Iran and its image in the Muslim world, and it emboldened Israel to carry future high-profile assassination campaigns targeting the axis of resistance leadership. What followed over the next few months was worse. Israel killed top Iran-linked and allied military leaders and commanders from Syria to Gaza to Lebanon. In the last week of October, Israel also bombarded Iranian military sites, killing several defense personnel and wiping out its primary missile arsenal. Towards the end of 2024, Iran virtually lost its grip over Arab heartland, when its longtime ally Bashar al-Assad was ousted in a lightning rebel offensive. The departure of Assad, weakening of Hezbollah, and retreat of Tehran's proxies in Iraq and Syria marked the end of decades-long Iranian influence in the region. For years, Hezbollah boasted of preparedness to take on Israel. It assured and reassured Lebanese of its military prowess against the Jewish state. Iran's powerful proxy group opened a front against Israel a day after Hamas's October 7th attack on its northern border and pledged to stand by Palestinians in besieged Gaza till eternity. But the group fell like a pack of cards when Israel in September detonated Hezbollah pagers and walkie-talkies all across Lebanon and Syria. The explosions resulted in thousands of casualties and delivered a psychological blow on the group, rattling its leadership and foot soldiers. Days later, Israel scored its biggest victory against its Lebanese foe, when its bunker-buster bombs eliminated Hassan Nasrallah, the charismatic chief of Hezbollah in capital Beirut. Israel did not stop at Nasrallah, but killed his probable successor and much of the military leadership. The group was in disarray, panic, and its remaining leadership scrambled for survival, and eventually forced it to accept a ceasefire with Israel. For 14 months, Palestinians in besieged Gaza Strip are facing unspeakable horrors at the hands of Israeli military, from ground to air. Tons of bombs, artillery, drones, and direct fire have killed more than 45,000 Palestinians, mostly civilians, including kids and women. The Palestinians were subjected to forced displacement, deprived of food, water, and shelter, with even Israel bombarding and storming health facilities and refugee shelters. The world continues to fail Gaza as Israel's allies, such as the US, remain in support of Israel's brutal campaign, while the Muslim world failed to act in support of Palestinians. Despite a brutal Israeli campaign, Tel Aviv has failed to rescue its hostages from the besieged Palestinian territory. Almost 100 Israelis, including combatants, remain in Gaza as Hamas refuses to release the captives without a deal. The lives of hostages remain in grave danger as fighting continues between Hamas and Israeli troops all across Gaza. The political compulsions of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the Hamas admins to end the war, and the Israeli military's failure continues to deny hostages their freedom. The United Nations says it is committed to maintain international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations and promoting social progress, better living standards and human rights. However, Gaza and the larger issue of Palestine remains a biggest question mark on the credibility of the United Nations. Despite overwhelming support for a ceasefire in Gaza, the United Nations has failed to force Israel to stop its onslaught against Palestinians, courtesy the veto power that the US holds at the Security Council. The United Nations has even failed to secure its own staff and facilities in Gaza, let alone unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid into besieged Gaza Strip. Hamas's October 7 attack was the biggest blow to Israel's hawkish Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, when he was already fighting for his political survival amid corruption charges and controversial judicial reforms. Bibi, however, turned the crisis into opportunity as he declared war on Hamas, rallied Israel's right, left, and centrists around him and his government, and consolidated his hold on the power. He successfully turned the tide against Iran and its powerful proxy Hezbollah after facing massive criticism at home. It was under Netanyahu's watch that Israel killed its top foes Hassan Nasrallah, Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar, Saleh al-Aruri, Hashim Saifuddin, and dozens of Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders and members. On the orders of Netanyahu, Israeli military launched strikes deep inside Iran, hitting its missile systems and other military sites. For now, Netanyahu's hold on power is firm, and it is unlikely that Bibi would be dethroned, given his friend Donald Trump is set to enter White House in less than 3 weeks. Turkey delivered a big blow to Iran when its proxies and allies dethroned longtime Iranian and Russian ally Bashar al-Assad in Syria. It was in the last week of November when Military Operations Command, led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and supported by allied Turkish-backed groups in the Syrian National Army, launched an offensive against Syrian Arab army in Idlib, Aleppo, and other towns and cities. The rapid advances of rebel forces stunned the world as Assad's forces, backed by Iran and Hezbollah, collapsed and surrendered, leading to the fall of Damascus in less than 2 weeks. Turkey convinced Iran and Russia against helping Assad, as they did previously in 2015, and paved the way for bloodless transition. Ankara returned to Damascus after over a decade as it flaunted its role in rebel takeover.
But I do. You know who it is? Turkey. Okay? Turkey's the one behind it. He's a very smart guy. They've wanted it for thousands of years, and he got it. And those people that went in are controlled by Turkey, and that's okay.
Once a jihadist representing Al-Qaeda and ISIS predecessor in Levant, Ahmad al-Shara alias Abu Muhammad al-Julani shocked the world with lightning transformation from a wanted terrorist to a de facto Syrian leader. He became the center of attention after the fall of Damascus, with Western and Arab diplomats lining up to meet him in Damascus. Even the United States, that had announced $10 million bounty on his head, sent a diplomatic delegation to Syria to meet Julani, and instantly rescinded the offer. Julani's transformation is phenomenal. He wiped out Al-Qaeda and ISIS from his territory, embraced the same United States and the West that he once fought, and has even offered olive branch to Israel that he once promised to conquer. When Julani's army conquered Damascus, celebrations erupted in jihadist heartlands of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Arabian Peninsula, and far away in Africa. It was a victory that they dreamed for 14 years and was denied to them by the might of Russia, Iranian proxies, and the internal discord. While the Syrian revolution was rooted in decades of dictatorship, oppression, suppression, and iron fist rule, the jihadists had their own reason. They saw Alawite Asad dynasty and Shia Iran as allies of Israel and an obstacle in the future battle for Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Sunni Arabs and non-Arabs rallied behind rebel and jihadist forces, while Iran dispatched and recruited thousands of Shia fighters from Middle East, Central and South Asia to stop jihadist takeover. The defeat of Assad and Iranian proxies granted Islamists and jihadists their second biggest victory in 3 years after Taliban takeover of Kabul. From Al-Qaeda to Muslim Brotherhood and Taliban to Hamas, the Islamist forces publicly celebrated the victory of Jolani and his men in Damascus. The United States defense industry has made significant gains from wars in Gaza and Lebanon, with American arms manufacturers experiencing a surge in profits. According to a report, the United States arms industry raked in $317 billion last year, with a significant portion of this revenue generated from sales to Israel. The United States government has approved at least $17.9 billion in security assistance for Israeli military operations in Gaza and elsewhere, with this aid including military financing, arms sales, and drawdowns from United States stockpiles. This significant investment in military aid has contributed to the growth of the United States defense industry, with companies such as Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon Technologies benefiting from the increased demand for their products.